Hey, Sophie Giuliano here. If you're new to my channel, fantastic. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm a board certified nutritionist. I specialize in helping women over the age of 45 to really get in the best shape of their life, age-proof their body. It's not about just losing weight on the scale. It really isn't, because honestly, if you want to, when I talk about age-proofing, I am talking about adding life to your years. I'm talking about you getting into your 70s and 80s and 90s with strong muscles, with bone density, great bone density, a clear, sharp mind. So I'm all about age-proofing the body from top to toe. And when I say from top to toe, we're talking about what is the best evidenced way that you can eat to age-proof your brain, your breast, your heart, your digestive system, to tamp down the inflammation, your bones and your muscles. So if we can do that, which you can without any pharmaceuticals or medications, you don't have to be dependent on big pharma to do this. If you can, then why not? So that's what I do, and that's why I'm so passionate and excited about it. I'm almost turning 60, feel better than I did when I was 30, and I really do put it down to, very much so to the way I eat, but it's not just the way I eat, it's a number of different lifestyle changes that I've made over the last 20 years. So what I want to quickly go over today is what I eat in a day. Now, by no means is this what I eat every single day. I'm just giving you a little snapshot of what I might eat in one day, just sort of giving you an idea. A lot of you have asked me to go over that, so I'm going to. The other thing that I want to say is not only is this not what I eat every single day, but this is not what I would get every single one of my clients to eat every single day, because there isn't a one-size-fits-all. Everybody is quite different, and so it really depends on the outcome that you want. Meaning, some clients that I work with come to me and they go, Sophie, I've got severe, digestive issues, gut dysbiosis. That's the main problem. Don't really need to lose much weight, maybe a couple of pounds. What they're going to do is quite different to somebody who comes to me and says, look, I've got type 2 diabetes. I don't want to take medications. I do not want to be dependent on big pharma for the rest of my life. I want to do it naturally, holistically, through food. And maybe there's, a significant amount of weight, belly fat that they want to release, visceral fat, great. Then we're going to do it, slightly differently. So it's very nuanced. So I don't want you going away going, okay, this is exactly what I have to do. I need the exact recipe. It's different for everybody. And certainly for me, the reason why I change up what I eat every single day is because variety is the spice of life. Not only because it's lovely to have variety, but also because diversity, and we're talking about a whole food plant-based diet here, diversity is key, because diversity really is what's going to feed your microbiome and start healing your microbiome. So there's a lot of information. I've got to kind of hold myself back a little bit here, because I could honestly make this video 30 minutes by giving you all this nutritional information as we go. So I'm going to try and sort of curb myself here and just stick to kind of the basics of what I eat. I can't resist popping in a little bit of nutrition every now and again, and I am going to talk about kind of the nutritional superstars within every meal, so that each meal doesn't take half an hour for me to go through. And the other thing is, I've created a little PDF for you, which is the Power Foods for Age-Proofing Your Body PDF, and I've linked to that in the description, so you can grab that as well and go through that, and you'll find that really useful. Actually, you can just print it off, stick it on your fridge, and when you look at that, I want you to really start to think about how many different foods, plant foods, that you can get into your meals every single day. I call them plant points. How many different plant points can you get in? Because that's how you feed, again, your microbiome and your gut. Your microbiome is absolutely the foundation of your health. All right, so let's start with breakfast. So almost every breakfast I have a smoothie. I have a giant smoothie. It's a 20 to 30 ounce smoothie. I love my smoothie because I can pack so much nutrition into that one smoothie. So when I say so much nutrition, you want to think of, I get all of the different macros. I'm very against cutting out an entire macro, like there's, cutting out carbs is just nonsensical as far as I'm concerned. But we want to get complex carbs, you want to get protein, and you want to get healthy fats into every single meal. I'm going to say that one more time. You need complex carbs, healthy whole fats, and healthy anti-inflammatory protein in every single meal, because that way you're going to be really satiated. And then eating this beautiful way, in this whole food plant-based way, in no way, shape or form seems restrictive. It's actually the most satiating way that you can eat. Many of the foods that you're going to see me eat in the course of my day have what's called the second meal effect. They keep you full for much longer. So this is very much the case with my smoothie. Some mornings I'll have a green smoothie, so there's a lot of dark leafy greens. There's going to be kiwi, cucumber, celery. We eat with our eyes, so I like to keep my smoothie either bright green or a deep berry purple. I'll kind of go one way or the other, but I really vary it. I vary up my smoothies. So the complex carbs are coming from the fruits and the veggies, and then the healthy fats are going to come from the flaxseed, the chia seed, Brazil nut that I pop in. That's a nutritional superstar for selenium, to protect my thyroid, or support my thyroid, I should say. So that you've got all my complex carbs in there, I've got my really healthy fats, and then I've got my protein. And all of these cross over into each category, because of course the proteins that I'm going to put in, the whole food plant-based proteins, are also complex carbs. So whether it's going to be, I might sometimes put a bean in there. If it's dark berry smoothie, I might throw in some black beans. If it's a green smoothie, I might throw in some white beans. I might do some unsweetened organic soy milk. I'll almost always put hemp hearts in there, or hemp seeds, but hulled hemp seeds, which are really high in protein. Flax has some protein in there. So it's just sort of building up that protein to look at about 20 to 30 grams of protein in that smoothie. Then sometimes I use, and I recommend to my clients, using a really, really high quality protein powder. You want it, less is more, by the way, with protein powders. You don't want something with 50,000 ingredients in them, because many of those you actually don't want, and some of them in the most common brands, some of the ingredients actually can be deleterious to your health. So I like to keep it really simple. I'll link to a particular brand that I like underneath the video. Why? Because I know you're going to ask. So smoothie. The other breakfast that I like to change it up with occasionally, and this is what I sometimes recommend for some of my clients, is a grain bowl for breakfast. So with a grain bowl, you could do any kind of grain, but I like to look at really whole intact grains. So an oat groat as opposed to oatmeal. With oatmeal, I don't eat oatmeal because for me, it kind of spikes my blood sugar, and it does do this with some people. Again, no one size fits all. And so I'm super hungry 2 hours later after eating oatmeal. So I like to think more of whole intact grains. You could do a kamut grain. You could do a steel cut oat. You could do an oat groat, even better. But what I really love is a quinoa porridge. And so I make a huge big pot of quinoa. I just warm it up with some unsweetened organic soy milk. So now I'm adding and layering in lots of protein, hemp hearts, lots of berries in there, some pumpkin seeds, some chopped up dates, always some Ceylon cinnamon, because I love the taste. And Ceylon cinnamon actually is a metabolism booster, and it helps to regulate blood sugar. Maybe some ground ginger as well. So I'll just load up that beautiful, and quinoa in itself, not technically a grain, but it's very high in protein. It's actually lighter. I find it lighter than any kind of oatmeal. So I really enjoy that. It's super filling and delicious. So I'll go between smoothie is my kind of go-to. Every now and again, I'll do a quinoa or an intact grain bowl, and very occasionally on the weekend, and I'll do another, maybe what I eat on a weekend video, I might go more towards a tofu scramble or a garden skillet or something of that nature. All right, let's talk about lunch. Almost always for lunch, I do a massive salad bowl. It's my mega super salad bowl. Occasionally, if it's super cold outside, it'll be a soup. But almost always, I love my big salad bowl, because much like my smoothie at lunch, I can get so much nutrition into that salad bowl. So people look at it and they go, is that just for you or is that for 4 people? I'm like, no, that is just for me, because I eat a lot. I eat a very, very large volume of food. Why? Because I like eating, but also because it fills my tummy. It's super satiating. In that bowl, there are tons and tons of nutritional superstars. Here we go. But first, let's go through the macros. Tons of complex carbs, healthy fats, and plant-based protein. In that bowl, it is chock full. Nutritional superstars may be things like sesame seeds and pumpkin seeds, because I love to put seeds in my salad. You need a healthy whole fat in order for your body to be able to absorb all the nutrients from the greens in that bowl. So I'm looking for a healthy whole fat, so that's a big nutritional superstar. Another nutritional superstar is a fermented veggie. So you can buy fermented veggies. They're easy to make yourself. You can look at all the videos online of how to make your own cultured and fermented veggies. It's really easy. But I really like them because it obviously promotes good gut health if you eat in at least 1 meal a day some fermented veggies. If you're watching your salt, if you have high blood pressure, and I have clients who have really high blood pressure, then we have to be a little bit careful with that. You have to rinse the brine off really, really thoroughly, because you don't want to get too much salt in there. So that's a nutritional superstar. My other nutritional superstars for protein will be things like shelled, organic, edamame beans. I love green garden peas, just simply frozen peas. They have a ton of protein. I almost always do some kind of tofu or tempeh. I just chunk it up, I lightly marinate it, and then I roast it, and that goes in there because that gives a heft of delicious protein with all the isoflavones, which are so important for menopausal symptoms and for protecting against breast cancer or recurrence of breast cancer. So we really do need to look towards getting, I'd say, 2 to 4 servings a day of really high quality unprocessed soy foods. All the sort of scaremongering, or what you've been told isn't, to be scared of soy. You really truly do not need to be scared of soy, and I'm certainly not scared of soy. And I've eaten soy all the way through menopause and had close to no or very, very few menopausal symptoms, and I really put it down to, the way that I'm eating. So that would be my lunch, is this great big bowl with all sorts of different things in it. And I look at that bowl as being like a circus. Again, we eat with our eyes. I get in as many colors as I possibly can, because that's plant diversity. So I want to get in purple. I put blueberries in there. I put beets in there. I put red bell peppers in there. I want to think of red and purple and green and yellow and as many different colors you can get in there as possible, because food is medicine. Just a very quick note on something here. So you may go, well, wait a minute, Sophie, what about the Mediterranean diet? Why aren't you putting things like chicken or salmon or olive oil into that bowl? And this is a whole nother video, but there's a very important reason why. And I think the simplest way that I can say this for this particular video, because I don't want to get too hung up on this, is that you don't need those fats. And in fact, it's probably better that you're better off without those fats, because modern day chicken and modern day salmon, 98% of salmon is farm raised, is very, very high in fat. Chicken is genetically modified to be extremely high in fat. And you may not know also that chicken is one of the most potent sources of sodium in your diet, because they pump the genetically modified chicken breast with saline solution so that it looks the way that it does on the store shelves. It's pretty gross. So you're getting a ton of sodium, and you're getting saturated fat, and you're getting more fat than you could even think. So things like that people would typically put in a salad, not a great idea for your health or your weight release journey. And it's the same with salmon. And I think one other quick little thing here is some people might say, well, what about olive oil? Wouldn't you put lots of olive oil in your salad? I prefer olives, because the thing with olive oil is it is all oil and all fats are 9 calories per gram, as opposed to all the other beautiful foods that you see on my table, which are 4 calories per gram. And it's not that I want you to count calories. I do not count calories, but it's not rocket science to go, yeah, that has a lot more calories. And if I'm just loading this salad up with drizzling it with all this olive oil, then it's just adding a ton more calories. And you may go, wait a minute, I thought it's really healthy. What about the polyphenols? Yes, some, but it's got to be very high quality, cold pressed, extra virgin, and 80% of oils that are on the store shelves are not. Just saying. But even if it is that, yes, it has some polyphenol in it, which is great for bringing down your blood pressure. However, you can get all the polyphenols you need from the beautiful foods that you see on my table without the adding the oils in there. There's one other quick little thing that I want to say before I move on to the next meal of the day, is I'm going to put a study, I'm going to link to a study in the description here, because there's so many questions and I think there's so much misinformation about a Mediterranean diet. Yes, it can be healthier for sure than a standard American diet, but if you are really wanting to release visceral fat, it is really not the way to go. So it's a wonderful study, I'll link to it underneath, where participants, randomized controlled study, half were put on a healthy Mediterranean diet, and half were put on a low-fat, whole food plant-based diet. And those who were on the Mediterranean after 16 weeks lost close to 0 amount of weight. And those on the low-fat, whole food plant-based diet had absolutely extraordinary, significant results, so much so that they didn't want to cross over when it was time for them to cross over. So I'll link to that study underneath. Okay, so let's now talk about afternoon. So sometimes I have a snack in the afternoon, but actually I don't often need one because my eating pattern is that I try to eat really pretty early in the evening. But if I do, I might go towards something like a beautiful chia pudding. It's so easy to make. So the chia, and again, I might make it with soy, which is very, high in protein. And then I can pack that with hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, chopped dates, tons and tons of fresh fruit. You want to try and, I try to get in as many of those dark berries throughout the day, not just in one meal, but you want to sort of pepper them throughout the day. So you're washing, you're feeding, I should say, nourishing yourself, flooding yourself is the word I'm looking for, with these antioxidants all through the day. So a chia pudding is absolutely delicious. I'll do lots of other kinds of snacks. I got other snacks ideas, but I just wanted to give you an example of certainly what I've got in my fridge right now. Now, evening. Typical what I eat in a day for dinner is I love pasta. I really love pasta, and you don't need to avoid pasta in order to stay in the best shape possible. You really don't. So for pasta, I might do a whole wheat pasta, or I might do a bean pasta. I do like the red lentil pastas. Not all of them. Some of them are a bit mushy. So you've got to sort of experiment and find your brand. There are some great black bean pastas. There are some edamame pastas. And all those bean pastas are so high in protein, which is amazing. But also, a really decent, high-quality whole wheat pasta can be fine. So I have that, and then what I have in this particular, it's not even a recipe, it's just a meal that I throw together. You can take a marinara sauce that's either homemade, that you can make at home, super easy, or you can get a jar of really high-quality marinara sauce, and then add 1/4 of a cup of red lentils per person. So it's going to add all this yummy, yummy protein in there into the sauce. You can make it creamy by adding a little bit of plant-based milk. I add fresh herbs to absolutely everything. And so I always put fresh herbs in my lunch, but I always put fresh herbs in my dinner. That is absolutely delicious. So I love my pasta with a red sauce, but I just customize it by adding, whether it's lentil, or very often lentils, sometimes it's tofu, sometimes it's tempeh, to really boost up the protein, to make it more hearty and more delicious. It's so, so good. And then almost always on the side, I'll have a big side of greens. It's called how you front load your diet, and all my clients front load. So it could be a really huge serving of, I love broccoli. I love broccoli rabe, also known as rapini, which has a slightly bitter taste to it. Anything that has a slightly bitter taste is amazing because it means it has so many antioxidants in there. So I'll steam that with some lemon juice or balsamic vinegar, nutritional yeast on almost everything. And then I'll have that as a side, or I'll eat that first because that really fills you up. And then, you know, I'll have my, you know, beautiful pasta dish or whatever else I'm having. But again, that's just one example. You know, I might eat pasta two times a week, sometimes even 3 times a week. Generally, it's 2 times a week. So that is an example of what I eat in a day. I'm going to do another video soon of what I drink in a day because I haven't even covered beverages and drinks here. But I hope you found that interesting and helpful. Remember to download the PDF underneath of all these, they're really age-proofing power foods, which are also going to really pack a punch on your, you know, your weight release journey. And as I always say, you know, you don't have to be dependent on Big Pharma for your weight loss, for, you know, for if you have diabetes, if you have pre-diabetes, you don't. You can do it with food and you can do it with lifestyle. And guess what? If you do, then you're in the driving seat. Then you're empowered. It feels so good to be empowered. Knowing what's on your plate, knowing what you're putting in your body, not having to take a medication or an injection that you could take for a year, and then what are you going to do when you come off it? Okay, you haven't learned to put all this beautiful food together. And ultimately, again, and I'll finish on this, is, you know, food, really look at food not only as being something to be celebrated and enjoyed. We should love, I mean, food is so beautiful, right? And cooking and meal prepping, my clients love it. They're like, oh, you know, one of my clients recently, she said meal prepping is the highest form of self-care. Before working with me, she hated it. She said she didn't have time, and she learned how to do it, and it's now almost one of her most favorite things to do in the week. So this really is about holistic, beautiful, natural self-care. You are in the driving seat, and you've probably already got a lot of the pieces in place already. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't, or you have to do anything crazy or extreme. It's just sometimes tweaking the pieces of the puzzle to get it together in the right way for you. All right? So make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll put some resources. I'll put that study, the PDF, and some other little bits and pieces in the description below, and I'll see you next time.